All right, let's dive right into this explainer and explore the fascinating 100-year evolution of Delta Airlines. We're going to look at how a company transformed from incredibly humble agricultural roots in the American South into an absolute global aviation powerhouse. It's a story of innovation, perfect timing, and just an unbelievable focus on the customer experience.
Here's our flight itinerary for today. We'll start with battling the boll weevil, move on to C.E. Woolman's vision, enter the jet age expansion, look at the evolution of the widget, explore the modern mega fleet, and finally wrap things up with preserving the legacy.
So, to get us started, I want you to ask yourself a seemingly bizarre question. What on earth could a massive, multi-billion-dollar global aviation corporation possibly share with a highly destructive little insect? I know, it sounds like the setup to a terrible joke, right? But the answer is actually the literal foundation of our entire story today.
Because get this, Delta actually has incredibly unexpected origins as an agricultural pest control service. Back in 1924, they were literally dropping insecticide from open cockpit biplanes. Now contrast that image with their modern reality, a passenger Titan operating over 1,000 mainline jets all across the globe. I mean, the contrast is just absolutely staggering.
Section 1. Battling the boll weevil. Delta's unexpected agricultural roots.
So, picture this. In the early 1900s, this tiny insect called the boll weevil was just absolutely devastating the South's cotton economy. Enter an agricultural engineer named C.E. Woolman. Working alongside entomologists, Woolman helped form a company called Huff Daland Dusters in 1925, and this was actually the world's very first aerial crop dusting company. They took these modified World War I aircraft and literally used them to spread dry calcium arsenate powder over the fields. It was such an incredibly successful and innovative solution that they quickly amassed the largest privately owned aircraft fleet in the entire world, and they did all of this just to save the region's cotton economy.
Now, as you might guess, crop dusting was strictly seasonal, which meant these planes just sat idle during the winter. And Woolman, well, he absolutely hated downtime. So he pushed the company to secure air traffic rights down in Peru for the winter months of 1927 and 1928. And here's the kicker, it was actually in Peru that they operated their very first passenger service. That bold little international experiment directly paved the way for their first domestic U.S. passenger flights on June 17, 1929, flying from Dallas straight to Jackson, Mississippi.
Moving on to Section 2. C.E. Woolman's vision, the philosophy that built an airline.
Woolman really engineered a massive series of brilliant strategic moves that totally defined the company's future. When the original parent company tried to sell off the dusting division in 1928, Woolman rallied local investors to buy it, and he officially renamed it Delta Air Service after the Mississippi Delta region. After that, he secured these vital 1934 airmail contracts, which really provided the much-needed financial stability they needed to grow. He also saw where the future map of American transit was heading and relocated Delta's headquarters to Atlanta. And then, to top it all off, he vastly upgraded their capacity by introducing the iconic Douglas DC-3 in 1940.
But you know what's truly fascinating here? It's how Woolman's personal golden rule became the true emotional core of the airline. He didn't just care about routes and planes, he cared deeply about people. This philosophy established a culture completely rooted in customer empathy, and that's what really distinguished Delta from its competitors. I mean, he famously engaged directly with passengers and even knew his employees by name, building this fierce loyalty right from the ground up. Section 3. The jet age expansion, speed, safety, and global reach.
So, during World War II, Delta was busy heavily modifying military aircraft and training Army pilots. But the moment the war ended, they immediately pivoted right back to passenger comfort. In 1960, they officially ushered in the jet age by becoming the very first airline to debut the Convair 880 jet. This was a total game changer. It drastically shrunk travel times and completely changed the expectations of the modern traveler forever.
But here is what is truly remarkable about all of this. That relentless push for speed and innovation, it never once compromised their exceptional safety record. In fact, under Woolman's leadership, Delta flew literally billions of passenger miles without a single fatality. No, seriously, billions of miles. That is a staggering achievement, and it's a direct result of Woolman's foundational culture of reliability, technical excellence, and just incredibly meticulous training. All right, Section 4. Evolution of the widget, a century of branding.
The next time you're flying and look out the window at that triangular logo on the wing, remember the history behind it, because Delta's branding has evolved beautifully over the years. Back in 1959, they introduced the widget,
It was this 3D triangle inspired directly by the swept wings of their brand new jets. Fast forward to the year 2000, and they shifted to a design known as wavy gravy, a flowing look that marked their massive international expansion. Finally, in 2007, they unveiled Onward and Upward. This brought back the classic widget on the tail, but gave the whole livery a really clean, sophisticated global look that we still see flying around today.
Section 5. The modern mega fleet, scale, maintenance, and global operations.
So, let's talk scale. That massive number you're looking at right there, 1,004, that represents Delta's current mainline passenger jets. To put that into perspective for you, this makes Delta the third largest commercial airline fleet on the entire planet. Going from a handful of little biplanes buzzing over Louisiana cotton fields to over 1,000 advanced jets crossing the globe, yeah, that's wild.
Let's break down exactly what that fleet looks like today. Now, historically, Delta really favored US-built aircraft, but following their massive 2008 merger with Northwest Airlines, they integrated a huge number of Airbus models. Today, they actually operate the world's largest passenger subfleets of several aircraft, including the Airbus A220 and the Boeing 757. They fly these long-haul routes across literally every major continent. And what's truly fascinating is how they keep this insanely complex machine running. They rely on their incredible in-house division Delta Tech Ops to maintain a fleet with an average age of 15 years as of June 2026. Get this, Tech Ops is so incredibly efficient, they even service engines for other airlines. Talk about a well-oiled machine.
And finally, Section 6, Preserving the Legacy, 100 Years of Flight. To mark this incredible milestone of 100 years of flight, collectors are quite literally holding on to pieces of this history. MotoArt has actually released special 100-year edition plane tags. And these aren't just little replicas, okay? They are crafted directly from the authentic skin of retired, legendary Delta aircraft. We're talking planes like the MD-88, the 757, and even the historic DC-3. Every single piece features a unique 100-year anniversary engraving, which allows fans to own a real, tangible piece of an aircraft that actually flew for Delta.
It is just so incredible to think about this journey. What started as this quirky little experiment to drop insecticide on beetles has grown into a 1,000-jet mega fleet that connects the entire world. It really leaves me wondering, as aviation continues to evolve with all these new technologies and horizons, what piece of history do you think the next century of flight will leave behind for us to collect? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember to keep looking upward.